Hello, this is Pastor Lauren Richmond, East Denver Bible Baptist Church. Welcome to our broadcast, Lead Me to the Rock. We're talking about grace for the pace, resting grace, and I want to deal with you about Caleb today. Numbers chapter 14. The Israelites had sent 12 spies into the land of Canaan to spy out the land, and 10 of the 12 spies came back with an evil report. Of course, the two that didn't were Joshua and Caleb, and as a result, the people said, listen to the 10 instead of the 2. That is a reminder, I think, that straight and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it, and broad is the way which leadeth unto destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So understand, it's not by many necessarily that God's going to show you the right way to go. Sometimes those that are in the minority have the right direction and the right desire, but as a result, the Israelites, after they knew they were going to face the punishment of 40 years in the wilderness, they decided to go into the land after that. Even though God had told them and Moses had told them not to go, they went anyhow, and many of them were killed, and they fled as a result. It says, and all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron and against the whole congregation, said unto them, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in the wilderness, and wherefore hath the Lord brought us into this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were not better for us to return unto Egypt? See, oftentimes people, they mess up, they do the wrong, and they still want to put the blame on God. In reality, it was their sin that caused this problem to take place. But the good news is, there was, in verse number 24 of the same chapter says, but my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereinto he went, and the seed shall possess it. So Caleb is going to be able to go through the 40 years wandering in the wilderness and come out and actually get to enter into the promised land that had been promised 40 years before. Now think about the attitude that he could have had. We've got people here who, because of their sin, caused him to spend 40 years longer wandering through the wilderness. It couldn't have been an easy time. We know that it wasn't. And yet, Caleb, we don't find him murmuring. We don't find him complaining. He was resting in the grace of God. I really believe that. And I want you to look at Joshua chapter 14 as we come toward the end of this time. In fact, 40 years have now passed. And chapter 14 of Joshua. And Caleb had this to say. 40 years old was I when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought him word again as it was in my heart. And he goes on to explain what happened, and then he says, and now behold, the Lord hath kept me alive, and he said, these 45 years, even since the Lord spake this word unto Moses, while the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness, and now lo, I am this day 85 years old. As yet I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now, for war both to go out and to come in. Now therefore give me this mountain whereof the Lord spake in that day, for thou heardest in that day how the Anakims were there, that the cities were great and fenced. If so be that the Lord will be with me, then I will be able to drive them out, as the Lord said. So Caleb said, give me that mountain. What a man of faith. Resting in the Lord, not complaining. God gave him strength for the task, and God wants to do that for each of us as well, if we will resist the murmuring and complaining, and even the times when we can possibly grow weary. Remember, we can rest in the grace of God. He'll give us the strength to go on, and just as he was with Caleb, he wants to be with you. God bless you. Have a wonderful night.